have to wait. Hello.
Health safe.
Μπράβο, ναι. Health safe. Κάνουμε δύο, εντάξει. Πόσο είναι κανονικό.
Turkey does not recognize the Republic of Cyprus. Raising the flag of the Republic of Cyprus is an act of defiance and resistance. Theatro Technis have been doing that for the last 26 years, raising the flag outside this building. And for the last 12 years has been raising the European flag. We will continue that. I know the negotiations that I carry on in Cyprus are on the wrong track because they are aiming for a bi-zona, bi-communal solution, of which it means the legalization of the partition of Cyprus, which eventually will lead to the Turkification of Cyprus. I hope that these negotiations will fail, and we must persuade the Cyprus government not to accept, not to make compromises as Turkey demands. And by that we shall continue the struggle until Cyprus is united for all the Cypriot legal citizens, Greek Cypriots, Turkish Cypriots, Armenians, Latins, one free, independent Cyprus. Now let's raise the flag. Let the world see that Cyprus is defiant to what is happening now in Cyprus. The United Nations are trying to persuade the government to accept a solution. But that solution is not the right solution. We need justice, and justice has no time limit. Turkey must be taken to International Criminal Court of Justice for the huge crime she committed in Cyprus. We must not let her get away, and it is up us in London, the Cypriot community, to continue that struggle. And this raising of the flag is the symbol of that struggle. Thank you very much. Let's all go into the
Είσαι καλά, μια χαρά.
Μόλις νομίζω ότι είναι γρούλα, ύστερα. Σε ξένια, ναι.
Ναι.
Δεν escuchando papá. Στο Βολογό, ναι.
Καλά. Γεια σας.
cosa faremo nel caso? Vediamo sto bene. Ti vuoi parlare un po'?
Εμένα είναι δε αόρτα.
Welcome to Theatro Technis, friends. We are small audiences, but it's not the number, is the quantity that matters. To us, it's a very sacred day for us, and we've been doing it for 42 years now. And trying to keep the torch alive and not say, oh, we are tired, we had enough, let's solve the Cyprus problem, let's get on with it. But we must think of the future generations of the Cypriots, because any solution that we are going to accept in order to find peace and so-called peace, it's a delusion, really. Because the future is green. Turkey has never lost sight of her original objective, that Cyprus belongs to her. Under the Lausanne Treaty in 1922, she was forced to give up her rights on Cyprus. She gave Cyprus to Queen Victoria as a gift on a leasehold basis, but not the freehold. So Britain, because Turkey was a member, was an ally of Germany and an enemy of the Allied forces, Britain took the opportunity and forced her to sign the Lausanne Treaty, abandoning any rights, and made Cyprus a British colony. She never forgot. And when she was invited by Britain in the 50s to come back to Cyprus to protect the small minority of Turkish Cypriots, let's not forget they were 18%, a minority. They jumped the opportunity. And that minority today wants to have political equality of 50%. What minority on the planet Earth has achieved that? There is a large minority of Kurds in Turkey. And Turkey is not respecting the rights of the people having their own language, their own, and tries to wipe it out. And yet, in Cyprus, she came in defense of a minority, and the world is accepting that and forcing the majority to accept equality of a minority. Imagine if that principle becomes a precedent, then it would be chaos on the planet Earth. I mean, in London, we Greek Cypriots, we must demand equality with the British. We are 300,000, equality with the British host community, because if that principle is passed. So the solution of the Cyprus problem of bizona bicommunal with political equality is wrong. It aims eventually two nations, two small states in Cyprus, and when the Turkish Cypriots become a majority and we become a minority, they will demand the rights of the majority, and we will start trying to struggle to keep the equality of the 50% that we agree now to accept under the present negotiations. So, friends, we must tell our government. I know that the Cyprus government is in a difficult position because the United Nations, United States, NATO, Europe, they are all trying to persuade the Greek Cypriots to accept the solution in order to appease Turkey, because Turkey is doing their dirty wars in the Middle East. But Turkey has committed a crime. And that crime has to be punished. Crime and punishment. The great novel by Dostoevsky is the symbol of justice all over the planet Earth. We must never lose sight of that. We must continue and pass it to the future generations, children and grandchildren, that we must not give up the struggle for a true, free, independent, united Cyprus. We are a member of the European community. Free movement to everyone. England is coming out because she didn't want to have free movement. But in Europe, the spirit of free movement exists, and we are members of Europe. And yet in Cyprus, we accept a solution of two neighbors side by side in a small island. Where's the logic of that? It's unreasonable, it's ridiculous, it's absurd. And we must tell our government, we must, if there is a referendum by the end of the year, because they all say it's going to be a solution by the end of this year, then we must tell all our relatives in Cyprus, we are 300,000, not to vote in favor of a bizona bicommunal. I don't want to say more because there are other speakers to say a few words, and we have a very wonderful program by the Michaeloudis Orchestra and the EKA Choir. But I would like Mr. Kashis, who is the Vice President of the Federation, to say a few words. Kari, would you like to say a greeting to the meeting tonight?
Is there anybody who doesn't understand Greek?
I am the North.
First of all, I want to congratulate Theatro Technis here for their initiative to raise the flag and the symbol of the Republic of Cyprus. Maybe it's an act of symbolism. It symbolizes the existence of the Republic of Cyprus, but it's of great importance. That is why Turkey nowadays, in all its efforts, try to eradicate Cyprus, the symbol of Cyprus, from the United Nations with their not existent country. If there is anybody who doesn't believe that the final aim of Turkey is to Turkicize, if the word is correct, Cyprus in the very near future, then it's very naive. They've done it before with Alexandretta, when Alexandretta was part of Syria, eventually became part of Turkey. I'll be very brief. Maybe we are the last generation of Greeks in Cyprus. If the bicommunal federation becomes a reality, then, as George Eugeniou said, in the very near future, Cyprus will be flooded from Turkey, and eventually, in a referendum, will change hands, become completely Turkish. That is why the present government of Cyprus and we, the whole nation, all the Greeks in Cyprus, will feel guilty in history, and if that happened. So we will all, having this in mind, the initiative of Theatro Technis is even more important. I don't want to say more. Thank you very much.
We have tonight with us our local council, Paul Thomas. And Tom, Paul, would you like to come and say a few words? A greeting to the meeting tonight. Thank you very much for all your support you've given us.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, George, and thank you for inviting me. George and I have known each other for many years, and I have to say I'm extremely proud to represent the ward that George has his community project, his theatre, and I'm extremely proud as well to be part of Camden and to live in Camden, and where such special communities have survived and prospered and carry on their good work. And I have to say, know a lot about the political situation in Cyprus, but I'm very sympathetic to your cause, and I'm very interested to know and learn more about Cyprus. George and I are also, I have to say, engaged in another project, community project, which is very dear to my part and to my fellow councillors. I'm one of 3 councillors for the ward, and I apologise I'm not able to be with us tonight. But we've all been discussing the future for the theatre and for the community aspects and the development to provide additional space for theatre activities, and particularly for young people, which is a common aim, I would say, to help our young people and to develop. Finally, I would like to say something about the European Union and about our sad result in the referendum to leave the European Union. I think it's a terrible decision. The Labour Party in Camden are very much a Remain party, and 70% of the people who voted in Camden to remain in the European Union, and it's obviously caused a lot of distress and worry and anxiety for our European residents and nationalities. And I would like to say on behalf of Camden this evening that we're very conscious that there are worries in the community, and we do want to support people and make them feel that they're not rejected by this really awful decision. Well, thank you very much again for inviting me. Thank you, George.
Yes, there is a project that there is the site that is belonging to Camden Council, and the Camden Council and the developers want to build posh housing, high-rise flats, and we have an alternative to build extension cultural center, giving training to young people, building studios, to music, to arts, to theater, and Paul and his colleagues are supporting that, and we're trying to fight and convince the council that is the right direction to go. No money, but the people is important more than the money. Thank you very much. And lastly, I would like to invite Andres Karolis to say a few words about the program of the events of the week before we start the music. Andrea, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, George. I am delighted to be here with you tonight, and especially listening to George Eugeniou, reminding me, George, of 1969 in the garage in York Street. When I came to London, it was one of the first places I visited, and George was there, revolutionary, leading the discussions, especially among the youngsters with long hairs and beards, and some of them were carrying chains as well at the time in 1969, the hippie period. And I am delighted to hear tonight George being the same George as 1969, fighting for the just causes, for the human rights, for freedom. The Federation of Cypriots since 1974, because it was founded after the Turkish invasion of Cyprus, started organizing rallies, seminars, and different functions against the Turkish invasion and the occupation of Cyprus, demanding the fundamental human rights for all Cypriots. After the Turkish invasion, all those killings, 8,000 Greek Cypriots were killed, nearly 2,000 were missing, all the destruction. The National Federation in the UK started working for the human rights of all Cypriots, irrespective of religion. For the Greek Cypriots, the Turkish Cypriots, the Latins, the Maronites, and the Armenians. And the same struggle continues again. In this struggle, there is place for everybody. Tomorrow, we have a lobby in the House of Commons, sponsored by 8 members of Parliament in the Grand Committee room in the House of Commons, followed by a reception in Jubilee Room, which is next to the Grand Committee room. It's at 7:15. At 5:30, there is a picketing of the relatives of the missing persons in Cyprus and the National Federation. And the relatives go there with their partners and the photos of their missing relatives. And when they see members of Parliament, they ask for their help to solve this humanitarian issue. this is tomorrow. On Saturday, just to say Saturday, I have to explain that from January, we sent a letter to the Greater London authorities, the authority of Trafalgar Square, and we asked to have our demonstration on the 12th or the 17th of July. Unfortunately, or rightly, they have the first choice, and they say the 12th of July, the 11th of July, the 17th of July are reserved for the authorities for their own functions. You can only have Saturday the 17th if you want to organize a rally. And of course, we accepted it. And so this year, the rally is on the 17th of July. 16th, sorry, Saturday the 16th. And on the 16th, at 2 o'clock, from 2 o'clock till 3 o'clock, we'll have a picket outside the Turkish embassy in 43 Belgrade Square, London Southwest 1, near the Hyde Park corner or the Victoria, the nearest tube station. And there we'll ask the occupying forces to withdraw the army and the settlers from Cyprus to achieve a just and viable solution for all Cypriots. At 3, the rally will start and will march through Piccadilly, Haymarket, and go to Trafalgar Square. There we split into a dozen, 15 groups of 5 to 10 people and go to central areas and tube stations and deliver leaflets on Cyprus. This is a different way to express our help and solidarity to our compatriots in Cyprus. A couple of members of parliament will come and join us when we'll be giving the leaflets out. We are not going to have speeches because some members of the Secretariat said that the community, after marching in the streets, and they are tired and they don't want to stand and listen to speeches. So we changed the format this year. We expect you to come tomorrow and then on Saturday to support the reunification and the freedom of Cyprus. Thank you very much.
And now we have our program. Mr. Michaeloudis, who is now in his 90s, and his orchestra and choir will sing us Cypriot songs which he composed the music and bring back the Cypriot consciousness, which I think it is the only way forward to unite Cyprus, to develop the Cypriotness and the Greekness and the Turkishness of the Armenian.